Don't let toxic garbage and toxic people ruin your life anymore. You're so weak, sitting there, letting toxic people and manipulators control your mind and life. You punish yourself with the garbage they throw at you, and worst of all, you allow it to happen. Do you think stress and anger are the price you have to pay? Ridiculous. You're destroying yourself and you know it. Don't make excuses that you can't control the situation. The truth is, you're too cowardly to face it. Everyone can see your downfall clearly, but only you fail to realize it. The bitter truth here is, no one cares that you're harming yourself. The world doesn't stop just to hear you complain about deceivers. You're banging your head against a wall without knowing you could stop all of it with one incredibly simple step. It's time for you to look in the mirror and ask yourself, when will I wake up? Do you want to save yourself? Start by stopping caring. Yes, stop caring about things that aren't worth it. This is how you'll master the art of not caring. You'll pull yourself out of the darkness by stopping caring about meaningless things and unworthy people. When you master the art of not caring, you'll feel life become lighter, more manageable, and full of meaning. Stress and anger will fade, making way for peace. You'll begin to love life, love everything around you, and feel true freedom. This is the path to reclaiming your life. In today's video, we'll delve into Stoic lessons to help you master the art of not caring. Imagine a man being crushed under the weight of life. Work is overwhelming. His boss constantly pushes him, demanding the impossible. Each day is a battle for survival. He tries, but he always feels like a failure. There's never enough time, never enough ability, and worst of all, there's never any recognition. Each morning, he opens his eyes to an endless series of responsibilities, a mountain of work that never seems to decrease. He hates this, and he hates himself for not being able to break free. At home, things aren't any better. Family? More pressure, not a refuge. Everyone expects him to be someone, but does anyone understand how exhausted he really is? His relationships are tangled, his partner is indifferent, his friends are drifting away. He feels lonely, but he doesn't bother sharing his feelings anymore, knowing that no one truly cares. Each day, he only knows tension, trying to stay calm, but any small trigger can set everything off. He easily snaps at anyone, coworkers, family members, even himself. He looks in the mirror and no longer recognizes the person standing before him. This feeling of being swept into the whirlwind of life, trapped with no way out, is killing him slowly, painfully. Anger, pressure, and the feeling of never being enough make him feel like he's drowning in darkness with no escape. He's suffocating in the meaningless loop of daily life. No way out, no joy, only stress and disappointment. The deeper cause of his oppression, facing lies and manipulation, is not because the world is too harsh, but because he's too cowardly to change. That's right, he's afraid to stand up, afraid to face the harsh truth that he allowed these terrible things to happen. He'd rather live in a fake comfort zone where he lets others trample on him, the chases, than face the fact that he needs to change. He endures lies and manipulation because he's too weak to say no. He lets others take advantage of him, letting them control his life like a puppet. Why? Because he's afraid of losing the stability he thinks he has. But it's absurd. What stability? He lives passively, no longer in control of his own life. Each day goes by, and he places himself in a lower position, allowing others to overpower him simply because he doesn't dare to change. He's afraid to confront the fact that things will only get better if he stands up and takes back control. That he's on a path of self-destruction. All the pressure is building up, bit by bit, and one day soon, he will explode. All that he's been bottling up, stress, anger, helplessness, will turn into a storm that will destroy his life. Because he refuses to change, he doesn't dare to face what he truly needs to do. The end will come, and by then, it will be too late to save anything. He feels like he's being pushed to the edge of self-destruction by emotions he can't control. Disappointment, anger, and endless stress pull him into his own dark spiral. Each day, the mounting pressure weighs down his spirit, draining his vitality. He feels like he's one step away from completely collapsing, with no strength or reason to keep going. But amid the chaos, a faint light begins to flicker as he turns to Stoicism. At first, it's just a small experiment, a desperate attempt to find a bit of peace. But then, little by little, he realizes there are things he can't control. Instead of torturing himself over things beyond his grasp, he starts learning how to let go. The manipulators, the lies, the toxic elements in his life, they no longer occupy his mind. He begins to take control of himself, learning to focus on what lies within his power and accepting that some things cannot be changed. The peace from Stoicism doesn't come instantly, but it gradually spreads, deeply permeating his life. The light in his life, which once seemed to have faded, grows clearer each day. The stress that once overwhelmed him is now just a faint shadow with no power over his mind. He feels relieved as he lets go of the burdens that once weighed him down. Step by step, he regains his inner peace, making life more manageable and lighter. Hope, which had once been lost, is now revived. For the man pushed to the edge by stress and pressure, Stoicism could be a real way out. He's been tormenting himself over things he can't control: unreasonable expectations from his boss, fractured relationships, and family pressures. He's immersed in anger and frustration, failing to realize that the primary cause lies in his attempt to control things beyond his reach. Stoicism teaches that instead of pouring energy into things he can't change, he should focus on himself. He can't change how his boss treats him or the demands of his job, but he can completely control how he reacts. Instead of responding with anger or feeling trapped, he should learn to accept these factors as a part of life. Relationships aren't the same as before. Rather than tormenting himself and trying to change others, he can focus on improving himself, becoming the best version of himself without depending on others' behavior. When he stops caring about things beyond his control, the stress begins to fade. The pressures he once felt are now harmless shadows, and he finds inner peace. The mental strength he once wasted on anger and frustration can now be used to improve his life and daily decisions. His life becomes lighter, no longer controlled by things he can't influence, and finally, he feels the freedom he's always sought. He has started letting go of toxic people and situations, and life seems to be brightening. Each day, he feels relieved by no longer carrying the weight of negative relationships. The manipulators, lies, and toxic situations that once occupied his mind are now mere faded memories, powerless over him. By focusing on what he can control, he begins to realize true freedom he's been missing all this time. Stress no longer binds him. Instead, he feels peace and balance. Small joys in life, from a peaceful morning to a relaxed conversation with friends, begin to shine brighter, clearer. His life becomes lighter, simpler, and the pressures he once faced now become opportunities for growth. Step by step, he's building a new future where inner peace and genuine joy lead the way. He's rediscovered himself, and life is becoming more beautiful each day. His journey of letting go didn't happen overnight, but gradually, he escaped the whirlpool of toxic people and situations. At first, he felt a bit anxious, fearing that letting go of these relationships might leave him feeling lonely. However, day by day, relief replaced the fear. He realized that cutting off toxic relationships was like removing the invisible chains that bound him to stress and negativity. Every time he let go of a burden, a new space opened up, which was gradually filled with peace and positivity. Toxic conversations, lies, and manipulative behaviors that once hurt him now have no effect. He learned to reject unwanted interference, stand firm in his beliefs, and protect his personal space. Each time, he felt stronger, freer. After releasing the toxic and negative ties, he felt a fresh breeze of freedom flowing into his life. The pressures that once weighed him down have now faded. No longer burdened by anger or frustration, he begins to realize that he doesn't need to control everything. Instead, he chooses to live more serenely, focusing only on what's truly important and within his capacity. Life suddenly becomes simpler and more manageable, as if the difficulties that once weighed him down have been swept away. He feels inner peace becoming clearer each day. The worries and stress that once clung to him are now distant memories. He pauses, takes a deep breath, and notices that everything around him holds a new beauty. Each moment, from a quiet morning with a cup of coffee to a gentle conversation with friends, has become precious and meaningful. No longer burdened by trivial worries, he learns to appreciate the present and truly live in every moment. The stress and anger that once consumed him seem to have completely dissipated. The things that used to make him angry and dissatisfied are now mere fragments of the past. He no longer lets them control him. Instead, he opens himself to peace, calm, and the sense of upliftment that comes from living a lighter, more tranquil life. Life now feels like an open road, where freedom and joy are ever present, and he is ready to move forward with a fresh, hopeful spirit. This man's story is a clear example of how stress, pressure, and negativity can ruin one's life if we don't know how to let go. He was once submerged in worry, anger, and helplessness, manipulated by toxic people and situations around him. His life became stifling and seemingly unmanageable. But through Stoicism, he learned a valuable lesson: stop caring about things that can't be controlled. Bit by bit, he let go of negative relationships and situations, focusing on what he could change: his own thoughts and reactions. Life became easier, lighter, and he began to find joy in the small things around him. Finally, he found inner peace and regained the life he once thought was lost. The lesson for everyone from this story is: don't let things you can't control dominate your life. Learn to let go of meaningless burdens. Focus on what you can do and live fully in each moment. If you want to regain your joy and peace, master the art of not caring from Stoic philosophy. It will help you navigate through pressure and stress and find true freedom within your soul. Life will become more beautiful when you know how to let go and choose peace for yourself.